We're going to Israel.
Where are we?
We're on the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah, so it means that they didn't go to the other side. It is people who lived in darkness for them. For the Jews, the other side is people who lived in darkness.
But when we come to the Sea of Galilee, here no need for any explanation. 100%, this is the place where Jesus, he stilled the storm. Matthew chapter 8, verse 22. This is 100% the Sea of Galilee. Yeah? Almost every place Jesus did a miracle, a church was built by the Franciscans. The Franciscans still confused where to build the church on the Sea of Galilee. Matthew chapter 14, where 8:20, where Jesus came walking on the water, and Peter, he wanted to follow him. This is the place. Yeah. Now, what's beautiful about this place, was a buffer between two worlds. What do you think? Did Jesus only perform miracles for the one who lived here? He also performed miracles on the other side. Who lived on the other side? Gentiles. And Jesus, he crossed to the other side. And once he crossed to the other side and met this possessed man. Remember Mark chapter 5, who was possessed by demons, and Jesus, he expelled the demons out of the possessed man and he put it inside pigs. Now what's interesting, even Mark's telling us the number of the pigs, 2,000. So he wanted to tell us that this was not wild pigs. This was a pig farm. The Jews, they for sure wouldn't have a pig farm. Wouldn't come nearby a pig farm. So it's clear this story happened in the Gentiles area. And more than this, when these pigs were drowned into the sea, the people were mad of Jesus. They were Gentiles. This is their living, yeah? So they didn't want to take a chance with this Jesus. One miracle, he finished 2,000 people. So they asked him to leave. But as I said, the most beautiful thing about this place, it is forget about all this information, that if I think about one place, where can I bring you back to the time of Jesus, is this place. The reason, look around you. Yeah, it's still very natural. It's still like in the time of Jesus. Yeah, it's still the same terrain and everything. It's what your eyes see now, it's like Jesus and his disciples saw 2,000 years ago, more or less the same. Actually, the locals here, we made a joke. We say that if Peter, for example, was raised from the death now and give him a boat, easily he can find his way back to his house or to his mother-in-law house. But imagine if he was raised from the death in Joppa, Tel Aviv, or in Jerusalem. He will get lost in the first mall he enters. Isaiah, he lived 700 BC. And he said that when Jesus came to Capernaum, he fulfilled the prophecy of the prophet Isaiah, the land of Naphtali, the way of the sea, the other side of the lake where people lived in darkness, they saw the light. And even if the Constantine and Helena, they hold they the one who translated the Bible by Jerome for century. Maybe they plugged that in. Maybe they plugged it in, yeah? But what about the Dead Sea discoveries? The book of Isaiah was discovered first BC. Amazing. And this prophecy, word by word, it is the same.
See, Jarius is going to lead me right up to tears and then give me the microphone. That's not right. Okay, amen. Well, I am very pleased that we are here. Thanking God that we've all safely made it here and that we are enjoying a quiet moment on this beautiful site. Some of you, you got the idea earlier this year. I'd like to go to Israel. For the first time, maybe. Some of you have been thinking about coming to Israel since you were children, and you're now here. That dream, that wish, that aspiration has been fulfilled. Something to take in mind is that not everybody who has that aspiration is able to satisfy it. Not everybody who's had that dream or that hope has been able to do that, and you have. And so, just take a moment to give thanks to God that this experience. That you've been able to take this experience.
It is more modern.
Peter, come on.
Wow, that's beautiful cast. Yeah, so this is the deep water. It is very difficult to catch a fish with a cast net in the deep water. Yeah.
Put it on the right side of the boat.
In the deep water, there is no fish in the Sea of Galilee. The fish is very close to the shore.
Wow.
So it's carpenter from Nazareth. He is teaching the fishermen of Galilee how to fish.
Wow.
But then what's happened here, shows that Peter was listening. Teacher, because you said so, we will go to the deep water. And they went to the deep water and they cast the net. They catch a lot of fish. And then Peter, he told Jesus, go from me because I am go away from me because I am a sinner. So that was before the resurrection, and we have one after the resurrection. Yeah, when in John 21, when Jesus appeared to them, and they caught 153 fish. Why John is telling us the exact number of the fish? What it means? It is very interesting. Many try to force explanation that this is the number of fish they have in the Sea of Galilee. This is the number of the nation in the world. So Jesus sending them to all the nations, 153. But there is very interesting explanation. There is a lady show me a ring of Kabbalah, and this Kabbalah always they try to explain things according to Jewish geometric. Each letter in Hebrew, it has a number. Every sentence you can convert it to a number. If I take this, it's amazing. If I take these two words, Ani, Elohim, I convert each letter to its number, and I add it all, it's 153.
Wow.
So what it does mean, Ani Elohim? I am God, I am the Lord.
The Mount of Beatitudes. Amazing.
In Matthew, his crowd, his Bible are for the Jews. Luke, his Bible is for the Gentiles. For Matthew, he's a Jew and he knows in the Old Testament all the important events, biblical events took place on mountains. Starting Genesis chapter 22, Abraham offering Isaac on Mount Moriah. Moses and went Mount Sinai, Mount Horeb. The same place where Elijah, he hid and he felt God in the breeze. It goes on everywhere. In the New Testament, the transfiguration of Jesus on a high mountain. When you go on a mountain, this is in Jewish culture, you are closer to God. The church here is designed octagonal because it starts with the 8 Beatitudes. Yeah, this was a sermon on the mountains. It goes on Matthew chapter 5, 6, 7. And again, Matthew, it says that Jesus here, he said, I didn't come to contradict the law. I came to complete the law. Yeah. How come it 8? If you read there are 9 blessings. Did you notice this? Yeah? Bless, 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 bless. But the 9th one, now he's speaking to his disciples. The first 8, Jesus is saying generally, blessed are who? And when it comes to the 9, he say, bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah? And he said you will be the salt of the world and the light of the world. Yeah. So as if you do this, then you will be the salt of the world and the light. This is also here Matthew is emphasizing Jewish culture. The light in Judaism is your deeds. Yeah, so your deeds, your good deeds are your light. Yeah, first it's like thunder and light. First we see the light, then we hear the thunder.
Yeah.
So in order that I preach for people, I must be like, my deeds are good. I must be light. Then come my voice. Yeah. Yeah. Did you notice that this morning you didn't find any sausage? No meat. All milk and milk products. So although the commandments, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say if you have milk, you're not allowed to have meat. It doesn't say. The commandments is in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 14 verse 21. Verse 21, the end of the verse, it says, don't eat the meat with its mother milk. So who made this? This is Hebrew teaching, rabbis teaching. It's called defense of the commandments. Defense of the commandments. In order to protect the commandment, you make it more strict. Give you example. So the rabbis say like this: if you go to a market and you buy a meat and you buy the milk, can you be sure 100% that this milk is not from this meat?
Yeah.
You cannot. Yeah? There's still chance 1 over billion. Because of this chance, you're not allowed to. If there is meat, you're not allowed to bring milk. If there is a milk, you can have milk products, but no meat. So this is the fence of the commandments. So how we see it here, Jesus' fence is not material. For Jesus, he said, it's beautiful fence, it's amazing fence, like the adultery, only if you see, yeah, and you wish, already you feel it. So this is the fence, you feel it here. Yeah? Sayag HaTorah, the fence of the commandment. He used it. He used this teaching. Yeah. Then he taught the Lord's Prayer here. Matthew chapter 6 verse 9. He taught it here. Here he also taught, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Beautiful teachings, the best of the Old Testament, continue all the way till Matthew chapter 7. We discovered big jars for using for public activities and many olive oil lamps. So it seems to be, particularly this room, it's singled out from all other rooms, was turned to a public place. What this public place could be. And then we discovered writings on the wall, graffiti. It says it describes Jesus as Christ. So most likely that what can any other explanation be? This is most likely the place where Jesus stayed. And this was Peter's mother-in-law house. We believe it was in Jesus' time, and this is still the same thing up till today. Experience
So Kathy,
Yes.
how do you feel about being here with your son and granddaughter and daughter-in-law?
It's beyond description.
Isn't it crazy?
It's awesome. Yeah, I told Jade that 80% of my joy about coming on the trip was being her roommate.
Wow. That's so cool. So
Yeah.
Jade is your roommate.
Jade is my roommate.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Jade, your grandmother's your roommate.
We're having fun already.
So how well do you think school would have gone if she was your roommate in college?
Seen her much. I've seen her much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one here, it was Aramean god. It was discovered here. This stone, I don't know who damned it. It should stand. You could see the figure of oxen on it, yeah, of bull on it. The Aramean, the king of Damascus, was a bitter enemy of Israel. During this time, the city was called Geshur. It was here that Absalom fled for 3 years. It's in 2 Samuel chapter 13, verse 37. The Bible always spoke against marriage with the foreigners. This Mecca, imagine that her influence for many generations to continue to be in the palace, in the courtyard of the palace. Absalom's daughter, he called her after the name of his mother, Macha. And she was the grandmother of King Asa. And she influenced the Judean kingdom in the south. And at the end, Asa, he expelled her out of the palace to stop this influence. This was one of the reforms of Asa, Asa, the king of the south. Philip, Andrew, and Peter was from the town of Bethsaida. Yeah, it tells us that their origin is from this place.
Those are gorgeous, Deb.
We started a hardy plant.
2019, and actually the site was being developed.
It says that Jesus went to all these villages and cities and he teach the kingdom of God. So I don't need to have a passage telling me that Jesus was in the synagogue of Magdala, because he said that he went to all the villages and the cities in Galilee. This is part of the Galilee. So you can imagine Jesus is standing there. That was the main hall of the synagogue. That was like the lobby to enter the synagogue, reception hall, then coming here. And look at this mosaic. Everything here is strictly according to the Jewish law. We don't see any images at all. Look in the floor or in the walls. So there was this mosaic here, and also we have the place where they kept the Torah was in this room, heading south. So this is like the compass for the south, for the temple. It must face south. So in this room, most likely they had the books of Torah. Now, look, the beautiful fresco. This is 2,000 years old painting. The main thing was reading the books of the Old Testament. Now, each tablets, they have 54 readings. So we have 54 parashot. Parashas. In Hebrew, parashot, the plural for parasha. Then it says, he opened the book and he chose the passage. Maftir, it means exam. You are free to choose. Maftir, haftara, exam. And he read from Isaiah 61. It's not painting, it's important to know.
Yeah.
If we take 10 by 10 centimeters, square like this, there are 180 stones. Wow. With 18 different colors. High resolution. Yeah, this is 3rd century, 4th century. 3rd century, we believe it was 4th century. Sorry, to be honest with you, the cardo itself, it was not from Jesus, it was recent to Jesus' time. But cardos or strip, they don't come from emptiness. For sure there was something before it from Jesus' time. Yeah.
And the reason I asked that question is because that earthquake happened around 350, and I was just wondering how much of that was destroyed.
Yeah, this was partly damaged because of the earthquake. Yeah.
How vibrant would the colors have been, is my question. Would it have been similar to this, or would they have been brighter at the time?
If you put water on it,
Yeah.
it will be more brighter, but they ask us not to do so.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. But it's amazing. Look, you can notice their lipstick.
Yeah.
You see
The pink, right?
and the reddish in their cheeks.
Yeah.
Do they know how many stones are in this whole thing?
The same like that one, also made like in, if you take a
يا شايف شخط وطمر. تفضل. بسها شخط وطمر. مش عارف.
دايما بتيجي معانا من الأورا وترجع معانا. This is Miriam. Hello Miriam.
Hello.
Okay, and this is Samuel. Hello Samuel. And he's our farmer. Now we explain what they're doing in here. Normally we do plant this field with wheat, but this year we changed to vegetables, cucumbers, melons, chickpeas, because every some years we need to change the crops in the land. This will be very good. Yeah. Joseph Arimathea was a rich person. That's why this is the kind of tomb he had. And this is an important point. Why? Because this was a fulfillment of prophecy. Village we built. I mean by that the buildings, the houses that we're going to see up later on. And the farm that we found is what you see here in front of you. The first archaeological finding we found here, we found it by accident, is this, where I'm standing right now. All of this was under the ground, full of dirt. And one day, in 1996, one of our archaeologists was passing here. He saw part of this revealed to him, because this was under the ground, full of dirt, but there was a kind of a hole. And he decided to bring his tools and to start to dig it out. While he was digging it, he used to find pottery shards inside from the first century. And he said to himself, well, I am excavating something from the time of Jesus here. When he finished this, what he found. There's a big vat cut out from the rock down there, and a big basin also cut out from the rock up here. And both of them are connected together with a channel that you see here. When he finished all this, digging it, he immediately understood what. Do you? Any ideas where this might be? Someone said that. Wine press? Wine press. It's a first century wine press. We press our olives in here in October and November. So put the olives inside here, and then donkey will push this around. In this case, all these olives will be crushed totally with the pits inside. When they get here, there will be not oil yet. It will be only olive mash, crushed olives that should be collected inside those baskets. Fill those baskets with the crushed olives. Then those baskets will be taken and they put them under a pressure or a press to get the oil out. The last idea I want to share with you here is that Jesus, in the last night of his life, he was praying in Jerusalem. The place is called Garden of and Gad, Semani, those are two words in Arabic. It's Gad and Shemani or Shemani. Gad means press and Shemani means oil. In Semani that means an olive press. Now Jesus took his disciples and they go to the Garden of Gethsemane. He spent the night over there praying. When you read the story, you will feel that Jesus was under that pressure, the big pressure, and he even started to sweat, and his sweat becomes like drops of blood. So you can imagine that he was pressed. If you remember, he even prayed there 3 times, which means he was pressed 3 presses. Every press takes an hour. You get 3 hours, 3 presses. Now Jesus prayed, right? For the first time, he came out and saw the disciples are sleeping, and he spoke with Peter and told him, Peter, you couldn't stay awake with me 1 hour. Wow. For example, they had chisels, different kinds of chisels, different shapes and sizes. They had a plane to plane the wood that we know from today. Carpenters use a similar plane like this one. Metal today, plane the wood and make it thinner and glass. Then after planing the wood, they have to and then sanding. The wood with a volcanic stone, okay, built out, they didn't have any standing papers at that time. And then the softer stone, also basalt, was used for sharpening their tools. They had an adze tool called an adze, A-D-Z-E, which is a tool that was used for cutting tools, to make the shape of the tool. Most of the work will be done by this tool. The other side of it is hammer. We had a saw at this time, and that's called the rope saw, like this, where there is a rope to tie the blade. And the last tool I want him to show you, I want you to guess, and you tell me please what you think this tool can do.
A drill.
A drill, exactly.
Very
It can drill
good.
a hole. Look at that. Yes, you're going to think about the 3 years and a half.
What, in the first century?
Sure.
As he said, I am Hana, the weaver. I am working with a sheep wool. In summer, we share the sheep with this scissor, which they were shearing in 1st century. After we share the sheep, of course, we need to wash it. Where is a lot of water, river, or is this basin after you? We wash the wool several times until it will be very clean. After with that, we need to make color. What we have around our village, in our land, we take it to dye our wool, or what we eating using for our food. As example, this is from onion skin.
Whoa.
These two colors from pomegranate skin. This is from the leaves of the victory and rosemary together. These are our natural from our sheep. We didn't buy these 3 colors. Oh. This is more, this what I said, these colors, all everyone can afford it. But this one, it's more expensive because we take it from spice, saffron.
color.
The cat is stealing the show, Hannah.
Obviously. The cat needs to get on the payroll. You need to pay the cat.
She wants to take my place.
This is super exciting. This is a dream. بس تساعدها تقرب الجمال. قرب الجمال. I heard
This is phenomenal.
I said on this side?
Balance.
Oh, balance. That's what I thought I was hanging.
This camel's not amused.
This don't feel balanced.
That feels like over it.
Wow!
Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Sing hallelujah to the Lord.
For each period, there was a type of jars. For each nation, there was a type. The Philistines, they used jars different than the Israelis. Ceramics different than the Israelis. And there was a trade. Here, for that time, we don't have written history. Again, the Old Testament is not history book. Yeah, because the author is not interested in history.
Yes, yes.
But it reflects the history of its time.
Right. Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here.
That's
yes?
consistent.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So in Egypt we had written history. The archives of Pharaoh is amazing. So this is one of the three rivers that feed the Jordan River. We saw it, yeah, that's one. Second, Dan. And when we go to Caesarea Philippi, we'll see the Banya. These three rivers make the Jordan River. Now, if you notice the word Jordan River, it has letters of Dan. Jordan. Because it's two Hebrew words. The Jor is always the J that you have in English, it's Yud in Hebrew. Yored, Yored, Midan. Yored, Midan. Descend because it goes down. The river going down from Dan, Jordan. Hebrew it is the Jordan, Ayarden. When Adam and Eve, they sinned, they covered themselves with the fig leaves. Yeah. So look, it has a big leaf. So it represents sin. So when Jesus he cursed the fig tree, and it was not the season, you must look at perspective of cursing by God. Perspective here is not he as a human cursing against fig tree. That's happened before declaring his glory. That's happened during the Palm Sunday. He's the Messiah. And the Son of God, he doesn't need a fig tree to cover, because if there is no fruit, it's only good for hiding yourself from sins. So that's why he cursed it. The Son of God, he doesn't need the leaves of the fig tree to cover himself from sins. He will never sin. So that's when he went for the garden. Second, when it says that Philip told Nathanael, back to about Nazareth, in John chapter 1, verse 45, I have found him. The one who's mentioned in the book of the prophets and the book of Moses. There you have the prophecies about the Messiah. So Nathanael, he knew what Philip is speaking about, that Philip found the Messiah. And he told him, is Jesus the son of Joseph from Nazareth? What? The Messiah from Nazareth, you saw the caves in Nazareth, yes? When Nathanael said, can anything good come out of Nazareth, he didn't mean the people of Nazareth are bad, are wicked. Because they are living in caves. The Messiah will come from a city like Jerusalem. The Messiah is associated with the temple, not from caves. But what's interesting, Philip told him, come and see. Now when Nathanael met Jesus, Jesus told him, I saw you under a fig tree. And it was knockout. Yeah, and most likely Jesus told him his sins. And remember the woman in John chapter 8 who was, they arrested her because of adultery. And that's happened between the temple and Mount of Olives. They brought her to Jesus. And as Jesus, Moses say like that, what you say, then he bent and some believe that he wrote their sins. This is it.
Wow. I always wondered why he cursed that tree.
But still he didn't trust God. Because of this, with David, that his people must go to Jerusalem, then he said in his, wow, they go to Jerusalem, they will be exposed to the propaganda of Rehoboam, and then they will kill me. And they will restore the kingdom of David. So after he considers this, it says in the Bible that he made 2 golden calves, one he placed in Dan, one he placed in Bethel. And he told his people, hey Israel, it's enough that you go to Jerusalem to worship God. These are the gods that brought you out of Egypt. So this is what's called the first sin. Yeah? And the Bible is very clear about it. People sinned when they came to worship the golden calves here, one here and one in Bethel. Now why it is Bethel? This is the boundary of his kingdom, from Dan to Bethel. The whole kingdom always was called from Dan to Beersheba. Then gathered all the Israelites from Dan to Beersheba. You find it in Judges 20 in the war between the Israeli tribes and the tribe of Benjamin. That means from all over, from Dan to Beersheba. Now after the kingdom split, from Dan to Bethel, the kingdom of the north, the capital ended Samaria. From Bethel till Beersheba was the southern kingdom. Yeah, the boundary of the land, of the biblical land, still in the mind of the Jews till today. Sorry, now another subject, but since I mention it, Do you know that apple can be unclean? Apple, a cucumber, tomatoes could be unclean. In many places, we drive here, I will show you the sign to convince the Orthodox Jews that this is a clean field. It says, Po anachnu michavdim shanat shmita. In this place, we respect Shemitah year. Shemitah year, the Old Testament, it says that you're not allowed to eat the fruit or the harvest of the field from the 7th year. Now, this is only applied for the land of Israel. That means from Dan to Beersheba, you must have this commandments. After Beersheba, no problem. All of a sudden, in the Negev, in the desert, and because of that we became very smart in agriculture, you have this beautiful agriculture farmed in the desert. Because when it is Shanat Shemitah from Dan to Beersheba, they go to buy the Orthodox Jews their vegetables and fruits from. Amazing. Speaking about the King Josiah, reform of King Josiah, that time the northern kingdom, it didn't exist. Was already destroyed. But simply this is an example about what is high places. Many agree that the Bible was written around the 5th century, 4th century during the Persian period of this land. You must see three beautiful women. They represent the nymph, and you see Pan inside the cave and his father Hermes. So Pan was the son of Hermes. Augustus was like the son of God. He made himself the son of God, and only Caesar bring the good news. Jesus, he came and he took both from him.
Right.
Yeah? Most likely Titus was in this palace. This palace was talking about the year 70 AD, coming here. The palace also had a huge storehouses. These are over there storehouses for the palace.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah, every time I go.
But past houses.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Good. Where are we?
So I can see a little bit.
That's Sheehan.
Next time
Where?
That's Sheehan.
Nice.
Why we call it the oldest city in the world? Actually already lost this title for some reasons, for the new research that happened here. How you define a city, how archaeologists define a city, because of the fortification. An urban place with the walls, usually inside it have you, like today, administrative system. Without wall, it's big farm, it's a big village. But when they discovered a wall, that means they discovered the city. That's how the definition of the city, the fortification. And here she discovered this tower, which goes back to the Neolithic period. And she thought that that tower, because it's connected to the wall, she thought that tower is part of the fortification. But the wall itself was about 4,000 years old. The archaeologists claim Jericho is the world's oldest city. Monumental construction reflects social organization and central authority, but canyons date and function, defenses, fortification are both questionable conclusions. Why? Because then appeared that this was not a tower that defended the city, this was a tower used for cult. They discovered in it, the steps goes to the top where they used to offer sacrifices. So that why this place lost the title the oldest city in the world. Only few people know that, now you know this. But they still call it the oldest city in the world. شوف بركي له اسم كنت تتعاملوا معه.
Yeah. And I can't get on it, somebody writing today. A day, a year, a month, 40 days, 30 days, 40 years.
Said they comprised of men, the group, and they were not interested in any sexual relation. They focused on the word. So he's speaking about a sect, about the Jewish hermits, about so when they came and excavated this site, they got it. They felt that the archaeologists, they found out that ceramics were not only like they in Nazareth brought from kosher place. No, they didn't trust anyone. They made it by themselves. All the dishes, the jars, everything. So this shows that we're speaking about sect. They didn't trust anyone for. Second is this community center. We discovered place where they used to meet. And they slept in caves, and we discovered ruins in the caves, and things goes back, finds goes back to their time. So all this together bring us that the one who stayed here were the Essenes community. Now in the modern history, 1947, two shepherds were shepherding their sheep and goats in that valley. They lost some of their goats, They went to look for it. After long search, they were very tired. And they sat down on the cliff. From the cliff, they saw a cave. They were so exhausted to go inside the cave to check if their animals were in. They took a stone and threw it inside the cave. It hit something, it made an echo of like a treasure inside. Now they were very energetic and they went inside. Thanks God that the scrolls they found was from leather. Thanks God. Because there were others from papyrus. Yeah, so they still they said, you know what? Thanks God, we still can make money of this. They didn't notice even the writing on it. They didn't notice it. They didn't care for the writing. AD, and there is many theories how long it took. Some believe it's 3 months only during the winter time.
Okay. So then how did the Jewish rebels take hold of this place if this was Herod's palace?
Josephus, he's not clear, he speaks about a trick.
Please take the skirts. Just cover your legs here.
Remember the story, Genesis chapter 14. This is very interesting because Abraham, he recognized him as a priest of God, and he gave him accordingly the tent. Remember his name? His name was Melchizedek. Genesis chapter 14. What's happened here for Abraham, this was a big surprise. Because in Genesis 12, God, he promised him the land. The second surprise, he thought that was a privilege. Only he believed in this, the unseen God. But all of a sudden, he meets this priest of God. And then we have Genesis chapter 22. Abraham's face was different. Very interesting name, the valley. The valley of the child cry, Gehenna. There was a practice that parents offered their children for God Molech. This was a practice since the time of Abraham. all the way up to the time of the Judean kings. So it's clear that this test of Abraham was taken from reality. If Abraham, he didn't see people offering their children, he would say, God is kidding me. But he saw this was the in this valley, the valley of Gehenna. Guy Ben Hinnom. So imagine how this test was difficult for him. Yeah? But deep in his heart, he knew God is different. Yeah? And he asked his servant to stay back. And the most difficult thing, when he was walking out, his son asked him, Daddy, there is the wood, there is the fire, where is the lamb, where is the sacrifice? And then he said it from the depth of his heart, Son, God will provide the lamb. And when you reach up here, we believe more or less it is where in a moment you see the golden dawn. He tied Isaac, he put him on the wood, and then the angel of God came down and he told him, Abraham, don't touch the child with any hand. So then the temple was destroyed 70 AD. The Jews were forbidden to enter Jerusalem, 135 by Hadrian. The name of the land changed from Judea, Samaria, Edomia. The name of the land changed to Palestine. That was punishment. Then the Byzantine period came in. The new spiritual center is the Holy Sepulchre. Everything moved there. The advisors of Helena, the mother of Constantine, who built the first three churches, they advised her, don't touch this place, leave it in ruin, because this fit Jesus' prophecy. Jesus, he said, no stone will remain on other stone. Matthew chapter 24. The Wailing Wall, my Muslim friend, they call it the Wall of Al-Buraq. Jewish friend, they call it Hakotel, the Western Wall. We, the Christian, we call it Wailing Wall, because we think that the Jews are wailing there. But they don't like, the Jews, they don't like wailing. It is very passive. It is, they say Kotel, Western Wall. Yeah? Where Jesus went over to Dominus Flevit.
You said Mary Magdalene Church?
The one with the golden,
right,
with the cross, Mary the Magdalene?
Okay.
I got it. I can do
Did you go up there already? You touch the wall?
Yeah.
Ready?
Pretty powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is 100% 2,000 years old. Anyone who came to Jerusalem 2,000 years old, he walked here. It's clear wherever you have the spiritual center, right next to it, you have the commercial center. Yeah. So when was the spiritual center in Jesus' time, and when the Byzantine came, this was destroyed. So the spiritual center moved to the Church of Holy Sepulchre, and all the markets followed. Jesus walked here, Paul walked here, Peter, yeah, Jesus, all of them.
You go right side, but with no steps, this way. So the fortress stood here till the year 70 AD. Of course, it became an obstacle in the way of Titus to the temple. So it was dismantled by Titus and the Romans in order to make their way inside to the courtyard of the temple. So that's why we don't see it today. Now the tradition say it's here, the modern tradition. Why here? Because they say it makes sense that Pontius, he stationed many troops here, and to here they brought Jesus to be tried by Pontius Pilate. So anyway, we'll speak about the trial of Jesus in the citadel. Now from here we'll go the part of the Via Dolorosa.
Down the Via Dolorosa in Jerusalem that day, the soldiers tried to clear the narrow street, but the crowd pressed in to see the man condemned to die on Calvary.
This would be the original street, would it?
No.
No.
He was bleeding.
Built on Hadrian Street. So this is known today
as the Via Dolorosa. So I've been asked whether this street authentic. No, it's not authentic. We can see street from Hadrian time, but the only street that we walk on from Jesus time is inside the tunnel.
Down the Via Dolorosa, all the way of suffering, like a lamb came the Messiah, Christ the King.
This is super emotional for me. Yeah.
To walk that road out of His love for you and me. Down the Via Dolorosa, all the way to Calvary.
First, Jesus condemned by Pontius Pilate. Second, Jesus carried the cross. Third, Jesus fell beneath the cross for the first time. Fourth, Jesus meeting his mother. Fifth, Simon from Africa. Sixth, Veronica wiped Jesus' face with her handkerchief. Seven, this one, Jesus fell beneath the cross for the second time. 8, Jesus meeting the woman of Jerusalem. 9, Jesus falling beneath the cross for the third time. And 10, Jesus stripped of his clothes. 11, Jesus nailed to the cross. 12, Jesus died on the cross. 13, Jesus body anointed. 14, the burial of Jesus. So this is the 9th station of the cross. Jesus fell beneath the cross for the third time. The church itself was built by Helena, 330. In one church, she put inside the crucifixion, a Golgotha, and the burial place. Now, over there, what's interesting, the Golgotha, it means the skull, the face. Over there, it's not the hill, it's not like face. Yeah, but since the year that it was discovered, 1880, till today, already the nose fell down. So that can tell you cannot stand for 2,000 years. Most likely they meant by the skull that it was a place where many skeletons were in this area. And it's not a recommended place to buy valuable things. You follow me, yeah? Sì. It changed hands from 2nd century BC. It changed hands up till today. All these periods here you have from the Roman period and on, it changing hands this place. Herod, he made 3 towers here. One he named it after his wife Miriam, one he named it after his brother Fathael, one after his friend Hippo. The only one which still remains is after his brother Fathael. So later on we'll see it more clear when we go to the book, the Israeli Museum. So this is the only one remained from the 3 towers that Herod the Great did. From the Last Supper, he crossed the Kidron. He was there with 11 disciples and said to the disciples, "Sit you here while I go and pray there." And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee. So from the cave, he brought here, somewhere here, to this garden, 3 disciples, Peter and James and John. Peter and the sons of Zebedee, somewhere here. Then said to them, "My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even to death. Stay you here and watch with me." And he went a little further. The little further, it is the church. Inside the church there was a stone where Jesus prayed. And he went little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "Oh my Father, if it is be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." And he came to the disciples and found them asleep. And Jesus said to Peter, what could you not want to be 1 hour more astray, that you enter not into temptation? The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
I think he's gonna enter the bus. Yeah, very close. He's definitely gonna enter the bus.
Here we split to 2 groups, the wet group. Reverend James always lead the wet group.
I'm leading it.
Go, Jen.
Sister power.
I will lead the
Dry group first?
Yeah.
Dry group first.
I go, the dry one will follow me, please.
Try.
Bye, Dry.
This is
Breathe in. Breathe out.
Ooh, nice and cool breeze right here.
You have to go back up all those steps?
No.
So how many times do you think Mark's gonna hit his head?
Oh, no. I mean, it's dark.
Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty much about how close they are to each other. But at least we can see it there, we didn't know.
Constantine, he sent his mother Helena to erect 3 churches in the most important site for Christianity. Nativity, 329, the first church to be built by the authority, by the emperor, and the second church is the Holy Sepulchre, we saw it yesterday, and one in Mount of Olives is called Aliona. So these were the first 3 churches built on the holy site by the emperor himself, funded by the emperor. As I said, the matter here, he wanted to make Christianity the official religion, and he knew he cannot make it all at once, because, for example, in Rome, only 10% were Christians. He couldn't start the new religion in the capital. He needed a new capital. He moved the new capital to Byzantium, which became Constantinople, which became Istanbul. Second step, he built these churches, and he started what you are doing right now. He started the pilgrimage, the Christian pilgrimage to we're doing this. This is heritage from the time of Helena and Constantine. 614, the Persians invaded the land and they destroyed all the churches. The only church was saved is this church. And the tradition, it says, when the Persian army reached here, in the facade of the church, you cannot see it right now, there is this mosaic. In the mosaic, there were the figure of the 3 magi. The 3 magi, the wise men of the king, they were Persians. So the Persian army look up there and they say, wow, in this place they do respect our people. So the church was saved. It's amazing. Even Jesus' teaching, the most peaceful, the most beautiful, could be used for political tools. When Jesus told the Samaritan woman, it will come the time, it doesn't matter you worship on this mountain or that mountain, the true worshipper will worship. So they interpret that the true worshipper are the Christian, and they must worship on Mount Gerizim of the Samaritans. And the Samaritans are not the true. So that led to rebellion, and the Samaritans, they rebel, and they reach here and they burn the floor of this church. So then the emperor, he changed the door from Helena's door. Look, the arch, the upper arch, the rounded arch. Can you see it, yeah? That was Helena's arch. Then Justinian, he made it the rectagonal with the lintel one, yeah? That's 6th century. Actually, the door is funny. It is function for how much the Christian felt secure. Helena's control a big empire, so the door was big. Justinian start rebellions, he make it smaller. The Crusaders, many enemies, look.
And now?
And that's a Mamluk period, because they defeated the Crusaders. They went on their camels and they start looting the church. So the priests make it very small. It's also because a holy place, you must bow. Some explain it saying this is the eye of the needle. Jesus, he didn't see this. Yeah.
Inside.
So after this, you see the place where the manger was. He gave order to kill the children of Bethlehem, and they say that they were buried here. Yeah? These are the tombs of the holy innocents. His vision is called the Vulcan. Most of the Bibles, even King James, any Bible you think about, is influenced by Jerome, because this was Jerome, he was like envoy for the authorities, for Constantine and the king. Ago, they didn't afford it to have a home, so they used these caves. And we know how they used it. It was also the stable. They watched their animals here in the back. In one of the parables of Jesus, it speaks about neighbor who came to ask his a friend for a bread. They kept the bread in the bag. Then he told him that, do you want me to awake all my sons to get you the bread? Because you need to step on them. Don't imagine it like the modern houses today. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now you'll be confused. What he's talking about? He could go to the kitchen and get the bread like today. But these were like, they have the bread in the bag. they stretch on the floor here, nice because of the breeze, the fresh air. So the bread and the animals, they have it in the back. So the whole area consists of caves like this. So the shepherd's field is not only this cave, or that cave, or these 3 caves. The shepherd fields is a huge area. And these shepherds, that night when Christ was born, they watching their animals by night. And also by this you can understand what he's talking about. Their animals were here with them, so they were watching their animals because they were sleeping here, watching their animals by night. And the angel of God who told them about the birth of Christ. You know what's the difference between the second candlestick? We call it menorah. There is one with the 9. This is related to the temple. The menorah in the temple represent the 7 days of the week. Priests, they went to the holy and they light this menorah every night. Now the other one, it is 9. It is called Hanukkah. 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 It is directly related to the feast of Hanukkah. In the White House, they do ceremony for that.
Yeah.
That's when the Maccabees defeated the Greek. The first thing the Maccabees they did, they went straight ahead to the temple. They wanted to purify the temple, and they must light the temple. They needed olive oil, special olive oil. They didn't find only small jar. And a miracle happened that the small jar was enough to light the temple for 8 days. So the one in the middle, they use it as a stand to light the others. Okay? Hanukkah is 9. 7 is menorah. 7, it is associated with the temple. Hanukkah is with the Maccabees, the miracle happened. It's the Jews, they will never celebrate a victory of a human being. A miracle, they celebrate. The Passover is not the victory, it's the miracle.
From those days, if I speak Philistines, I am like 1200 BC. Came from there. It's bad neighborhood. Who is willing to live all the day, they are shouting rockets on you? No way. The Philistines, they had the army. They went from here all the way up, they took Dan. Dan near Banias, near Caesarea Philippi. So they have two portions for Dan. I speak about 1218. That San Francis came that year to the Holy Land. But he came to Akko. And from Akko he came down to Jaffa, and then he went down to Egypt, San Francis. You heard about this, right? About San Francis. You have a big order, the Franciscan order after the name of San Francis. And the Vatican loved really San Francis. Why? And his order, because they have more than usual monks and more than usual nuns. This is why the Vatican gave him the chance to be like the guardians of the Holy Land. They were given this right 1225 like that, before the coming of the Ottoman here. Before the coming of the Ottoman. Beautiful churches they made. Remains only of 5 churches. Later, here when the Franciscans came here, what they decided to do, they bought a tower from that side and the tower from this side, the German tower and the French tower, and they put them together and they make a church. Beautiful church came to be. We call it the Church of St. Peter. But here we have a beautiful church, a monastery of St. Louis. Was a nice man really, but all his problem, and instead of going to fight here, where did he go? To Egypt. Why to go to Egypt? I think you know the reason. Who were enemy number 1 to the Crusaders? Why the Egyptians? Because they have navy. They have navy.
عير